You little scamp. Do you know how much the core you took was worth? I stole it from the castle. 3 years it took me to get it. And now...
Please! She's barely 10 years old!
Silence! Stay out of it!
Oh!
If you die, it'll be as good as new. You brought this on yourself.
From now on, I'll protect you. I'll keep you safe. Always. My name is Jin. What's yours?
Laura.
It seems like sending outcasts was the right choice. You all right?
I've been through worse. I can handle it.
Jin, I swear I'll make your dream come true. So stop putting yourself at risk.
There's still time.
Is that part of your dream, too? What are we, in the end? This hunger I feel, this thirst, is it really my own? Or is it someone else's? Sometimes I can't tell. Tell me, Jin, are you really here? I don't know where I really am.
You're starting to sound like a human.
Oh, yeah?
Perhaps we're not so different after all. Humans and blades.
What's the deal with this ceasefire?
A tribunal, it looks like. Praetor on Malthus is here in person. And who's going to argue with the Praetor?
Does he have any clue how many men we lost? If those Ardainians get away with this, architect, damn it.
Quit your grumbling, mate. All this is way beyond our pay grade.
You got that right. We're all just faceless cannon fodder to the bigwigs. CO says jump, we jump.
Whoa, I can like speak and stuff. What voice was I doing for Zeke? Morning, folks. Everyone sleep well. I can't do his voice. Not a wink. Figured as much. Let's take a nice walk over to the hall where the emergency summit's being held. Clear our heads a little bit. Someone's gotta escort Morag over there, right? I think I would be perfectly capable of finding my own way. And Mithra's meant to be attending too, right? Apparently, yes. See? We might as well all head over. Yes, you're right. Let's go. Whoa! Whoa, that's a freaking error in the cutscene. Mithra's out, but Rex has Pyra's sword instead of Mithra's. That's not supposed to be the case. Well, guess I spotted a mistake. Neat. I never noticed that before. Silly game developers. Always messing up. But yeah, I can speak and stuff. Perfectly good sentence. But yeah, so as I was writing in chat there, so the last time we were streaming this, we arrived to Indol here finally to meet with Praetor Amalthus, who's the driver of Malos, while Rex is the driver of Pyra/Mithra. So they're the two Aegis drivers, except Malthus doesn't exactly control Malos in any way. Malos is just like, hey, screw you, I'm gonna do my own thing. But while talking with Amalthus the last time, Rex was like, whoa, while we were talking to Amalthus, it felt like I was talking to that Malos guy. And it's also been mentioned earlier this game that, like, the driver can have a great influence on the blade. Like, there was that flashback to 500 years ago with Laura and her blade Haze. Like, we now know that she was also the driver to Jin, so those were her two blades, were Jin and Haze. But they were talking about Haze there, where they were talking about how they look like exactly the same, and they're like the same dress size, stuff like that, and kind of reflect each other like that because of how much of an influence the driver had on the blade when awakening it. And yeah, so there's that hint. Plus there's the hint in that last cutscene where Malos is talking and he's like, this feeling, is it really my own or is it someone else's? Like, sometimes I can't really tell. And then you also have to call in the question, like, this hatred that Malos has for the world, the reason why he wants to freaking do the big bad stuff that he wants to do, why he's a bad guy in the first place. Where does it come from? Is it really his own will? Or is it the will of Amalthus as his driver having an influence on Malos? Because that's kind of, you know, what's being hinted at a little bit here. Stuff like that. And yeah, the way the story does it, this shit is incredible. It connects every detail and makes it fit into the final story. Just wait until you see how everything starts wrapping up. It's gonna be freaking crazy. But yeah, so we got a whole bunch of details from that last cutscene there. Like, for one, the fact that Laura, who was super important to Jin, was Jin's driver. And we find out that Jin is known as like the paragon of Torna, back when Torna was a country that existed back like 500 years ago before it was destroyed. So he was like this sacred treasure that was like passed down among like the royal family, stuff like that. It's like the strongest blade in the whole continent. And this guy, his name is Gort, you find out in Torna, the Golden Country, winds up going and stealing the core crystal for Jin, which he figures like he can just sell and like get rich, stuff like that. And I guess he has Laura and like that other little girl, I don't know who the heck she is, in his place. I don't think that he's Laura's father. I don't think that that's what was said in Torna, the Golden Country. I remember that Laura said, like, he did take care of my mother in that game, but, like, she never says that he's her father. So I don't think that Gort, the dude that was in that last cutscene, is her father. He might be. I don't think it was ever mentioned, but I don't think he is. I think he was just, like, some guy that kind of stepped in to be with her mother. I don't know who Laura's father is, but we have some good theory for you. No, once you have the time with the new house and all, yeah, time to craft theories and stuff. But yeah, anyway, so he stole that crystal figuring that he can like sell it, make a quick buck, because it's literally like a legendary treasure, the most powerful blade in the country, stuff like that. But then Laura winds up touching the core crystal, and she has enough aptitude to like awaken a blade. Like, she has the potential to be a driver, so Jin awakens there on the spot. And then that guy, who we find out in Torna, the Golden Country, is Gort. Gort's like, do you have any idea how much the core you took was worth? And as we've learned earlier in the game, if a driver dies, then the blade goes back to being a core crystal and has all their memories like wiped. So they're basically like a fresh blade when they are awakened again. So this guy figures like, oh, I'll just kill you and he'll go back to being a core crystal then. Like, you leave me no choice. There's no way he's gonna go back to a core crystal otherwise. So he tries to kill her, and then Jin freaking cuts off his arm. In that cutscene there that we just saw in the flashback, it looks like Jin kills him. Turns out in Torna the Golden Country, Jin doesn't kill him, he just like cuts off his arm. And my doggy here really wants some attention right now, hey? What you doing? How you feeling? Hey? What's up? What's up, silly doggy? You're gonna lay down there now? Huh? Yeah, you want a belly rub? Yeah, he really is hot, honestly. Whoops. Also, so yeah, we now know that he's a blade. Laura was his driver, and Laura is now in that freaking like crystal thing in like the Tornan base there. And in the last stream, while Mithra was talking to Jin about like why you changed sides, because she was talking about how Jin actually fought alongside the heroes there 500 years ago to stop Malos in the first place. So like Laura and Jin and Hayes together as like the, you know, as the driver and her two blades, along with some other party members like Adam and Mithra and stuff like that, went to go defeat Malos. So Mithra was asking in that last chapter, like, why'd you change sides? You know, like, why are you siding with Malos when we once fought to stop him? And Jin was like, what if I told you it was your fault? If you hadn't left when you did, then she'd still... And Mithra was like, oh, so that's what it's about. And so yeah, it's seeming like Laura isn't exactly, you know, around anymore like that. So it's probably pretty evident that he's talking about Laura there. And as I mentioned earlier, it's one of the facts about the world here is that when a driver dies, the blade goes back to being a core crystal. And Laura wouldn't exactly survive for 500 years, you know? So you'd think that Jin would have gone back to his core crystal. And every blade in this game, except for like the Aegises, like with the green core crystal. Look at the freaking Poppy doing a dance over there. But like Pyra and Mithra's core crystal's green, Malos's is purple, as we'll find out later. But every other blade has a blue core crystal, unless you count Poppy with like orange because she's an artificial blade. But every like regular blade has a blue core crystal. It's just the way that it works. Like we have seen a differently colored core crystal already, and that was on Cole in chapter 3, who turned out to be a flesh eater, meaning that he was like a blade that had been fused with human cells. Like, meaning that he's not a regular blade anymore, he's like part human and part blade, so he's never gonna go back to his core crystal anymore. He's gonna just like die a regular death instead of going back to his core crystal. But he's lived for a long time, since he was around since 500 years ago. But he's like super weak nowadays. But anyway, his core crystal was like blue and pinkish to show that he wasn't a regular blade anymore. He was like a mix of human and blade. And Jin's core crystal isn't blue either. It's red, which, what could that imply if he's not a regular blade then? This reminds you of Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII, except not evil. Yeah, I've never played Final Fantasy VII, but I know who you're talking about, and honestly, I can see the connection there. I can definitely see it. Was there anything else that I wanted to discuss with that last part there? I don't know, maybe we should just hop back into things. So there's all the new details. Also, actually one more thing that I will mention, I didn't want to start uploading parts of Torna the Golden Country until this part here, because like otherwise it would spoil that Jin's a blade right off the bat. So I had to get through chapter 5 and then show like that intro like flashback there of Laura awakening Jin before I was willing to start Torna the Golden Country during this 1-2 Torna series. Otherwise, if I start beforehand, it's like, hey, spoilers, Jin's a blade. That wasn't supposed to be revealed yet. So now the next part in this series after this goes up might be Torna the Golden Country, or it might be another Xenoblade 1 part, but either way, first part of Torna will start soon then, whenever this is uploaded and stuff. So yeah, so that's my, I have to go this way? So that's why Torna the Golden Country wasn't started earlier in this series, and why it's gonna be started like soonish then. Through here is the venue for the Summit of Nations. So yeah, because Jin tried to instigate war between Ardainian and Uriah, and they were about to start full-out war, and then Indol freaking came in and was like, stop this right now, and now like all the important nations are gonna be like talking about how it wasn't Ardainian that started the war and how they should call everything off. So let's see here. Time for a bunch of diplomatic stuff, I guess. Oh, hey, Carvia. Yeah, I know you as well. Are you still freaking streaming? I know you don't use a microphone or a camera, so you can just, like, hop into other streams while you're in the middle of streaming. Sorry I didn't stick around for, like, viewer games there. But, oh, wait. Sorry about that. But yeah, you're not real, you're Cloud. I must ask if you run away. You have to leave. You have to learn. You bastard, hold on to that hatred. Is that something that Sephiroth says? Sounds interesting. Anyway, through here is the venue for the Summit of Nations. Must apologize, but entry is forbidden to all but the official representatives of each nation. Guess this is as far as we go. I can't do Nia's voice. Yes, Bridget and I will proceed to the summit. I'm coming with you. And so are you, Mithra, remember? I guess. Not sure I like it, but I suppose I have to play my part in all this. I can't do the voices for these characters. Rex, you head back to our chambers with the others and wait for us. No problems. Careful in there, okay, Mithra? I can't do these voices. Don't worry, I'll handle this just fine.
My deepest thanks to you for agreeing to this ceasefire. Queen Rakura, Emperor Nile.
As I recall from the Assyrian treaty of 350 years ago, the Praetorium was to refrain from intervention in times of war. And yet here you are intervening. But I trust you have a suitable justification, Your Eminence.
Naturally. But first, to ensure impartiality in these negotiations, may I present Nira, acting chairman of the Argentum Trade Guild. Furthermore, representing the Tantalese, His Highness the Crown Prince Ozikairis Brunev Tantal will also be attending.
The Crown Prince? The prodigal Prince of Tantal?
What a spectacle! Seems the Praetor has as much clout around here as ever.
Could we not just take them out here and now?
Good point. All the principal nations' heads gathered here? It'd make things easy later.
The way to the World Tree must first be opened. Wiping out mankind is the easy part. We could manage that ourselves.
Even so.
That isn't our only goal, remember? We must wait for the stage to be set.
Is Jin serious about this?
Yeah. I've been wondering that myself.
Oh, he's serious. He always is. He will annihilate mankind, and then he will kill the architect.
Now, it seems Mor Ardain has been accused of a unilateral breach of treaty in this matter. Emperor Nile, I open the floor to you. Is there anything you wish to say?
While we are still conducting investigations into the cause, it cannot be denied that weaponry belonging to our forces was discharged against Uriah. Regardless of any possible reason and circumstance, we are prepared to offer recompense for this grave offence.
So you want to settle this with money?
We will provide any compensation deemed necessary.
Perhaps I'm misunderstanding. To my ears, it sounds almost as if you mean to imply that the blame for these offences does not lie with your Majesty at all.
We are investigating. I ask that we not draw any hasty conclusions.
What need is there for investigation? I believe a cause has already been established. There are witnesses.
And that would be? What a preposterous notion. The people you speak of are merely a terrorist group. How could they possibly command that measure of...
It's the truth. I, Ozyclyrus, swear this in the name of King Eulogimenus Tentacle.
Can confirm ex-Chairman Banner give these people some kind of supplies. Military supplies, methinks, and in great number, yes.
But why would...
What if I were to tell you that the Aegis Malus, who raised the world 5 centuries ago, was involved?
Ridiculous. Everyone knows he disappeared in a blaze of flame.
He's very much alive, believe me. That arsehole, the Aegis, has confronted us in person. And if my word is not enough for you...
A blade? But that core crystal...
This is another Aegis, named Mithra. Your Highness has heard of her, surely?
So the rumors that reached us were true. Who is its driver?
If you knew that, I dare say your surprise would be even greater. But that is not the matter we are here to discuss, Your Highness. This is a dire situation.
"6 o'clock already. Mithra's been in there for a long time now.
We've just got to trust them. They're dealing with the leaders of whole nations. It's not like there's anything you or me can do to help.
Ugh.
I've noticed something about Malos. He's an Aegis, but you wouldn't know it from how he's fighting. I'm pretty sure he's damaged in some way.
You mean he can't use the full extent of his powers?
The wounds I dealt in our battle long ago may not be completely healed. His end goal is Elysium. He wants to go back to the place he was born. There he can heal until his powers have recovered. If Malos is allowed to restore himself...
The horrors of 5 centuries past will return.
Or worse still, Malos's goal is simple. He means to destroy humanity in its entirety.
Why would anyone desire that?
Perhaps he doesn't even need a reason. It seems to be a deep-seated drive. An instinct. As natural as breathing.
All of this is my responsibility.
Praetor Amalthus? Whatever do you mean?
It was none other than I who awakened Malos and unleashed him upon the world.
So, Your Eminence, the rumor that you were once Malos's driver is...
I never intended to obscure the truth. It is writ plain for all to see in history books. I was a fool. It was to prevent such foolishness that all passage to the World Tree was forbidden after the Aegis War. However, it has become apparent that the laws of men do not apply to Malos. The time may have come to lift that restriction. I appreciate this.
Don't think you've earned my trust. But since Rex is going to Elysium, their paths are bound to cross. That's all.
I'm surprised. You seem so devoted to the boy.
It's for both our sakes. But you, Amalthus, who is it that you're living for?
More words to be said. Meh. Morning, folks. You're looking a bit better slept than yesterday. Pretty much. But wait, that's Drillmark. Fan's state funeral is to be held today, is it not? Yeah, I think it was meant to be happening in Cior's Plaza, right outside the sanctum. You'll be going, right, chum? Yes, it would be wrong for me not to. Cior's Plaza, very not far, words, very not far away. Time to go, quick. Master Pawn's so bossy sometimes. But yeah, so both those things there. The trust and lifting of the restriction. Yeah, there was like the restriction that nobody can go to the World Tree. But now that that's like our destination. Thanks for the 3 bits, Anima. I appreciate it. Aloha. How's it going today? But yeah, so they're lifting the restriction that said that nobody could go to the World Tree, since we kind of got to go to the World Tree now to stop Malus from going there. And yeah, Mithra does not completely trust Amalthus there, huh? That was the weirdest freaking jump I've ever seen in my life. Thanks, game. Alrighty. Oh yeah, also in this cutscene here is a... What are you doing, Poppy? That's a... Whoa! Anyway, in this upcoming cutscene here, if it's what I think it is, I might actually make a look from Nia an emote in this one day. One day, if I ever make a smug emote, it's gonna be Nia from this coming up cutscene.
I guess they did call her a goddess. The state funeral makes sense. Shouldn't you be with him?
He's a boy. Best not to bother them at times like this.
I expected you to be more clingy. You really are different from her.
Actually, letting him be was more her idea than mine.
Really? Pirates? Get out. So wait, you're saying you want to go be clingy or what?
I'll burn you.
I kid. Sheesh. It's weird though.
What is?
I mean, don't you think it's odd? Normally, if a blade or its driver dies, it'll just go back to being a core crystal. So why is Fan just dead?
I did wonder the same thing. There's only one way I know for a dead blade to keep its physical form. Remember Minoth? I mean Cole. He was a flesh eater.
Yeah.
But Fan wasn't a flesh eater. I can say that for sure.
What's that?
That's the shape of Fan's core crystal. Well, how it used to be.
But now it's a triangle.
Rex and I are quite a unique case, but this is different still.
How is it different?
If a blade shares its core with another, its shape changes in a uniform fashion. In our case, the center part went to Rex, and the outer part to us. I don't know why that is, but it seems to be a rule.
But Fan's isn't like that.
Exactly. It looks more like someone stole her core, doesn't it?
Okay, so there was kind of a lot of information in that cutscene there. First of all, that smug look from Nia I might draw as an emote one day, because that seems incredible. And yeah, so normally if a blade dies, that they'll just go back to their core. What the heck is that lesson going on in the background? This freaking guy just rolled out like a chalkboard, and there's like 5 kids in front of there. And he's like, "Oh, it's a pleasant day. We just held a funeral 30 seconds ago. Time to teach you about elementary calculus." Oh my goodness, people are spawning in back. Wait, I see Pyra at the top there off the screen. Is that... What's she doing over there? What's she staring at? Look at the top right of the screen. What the heck? What? Why is she over there? Why isn't she part of the group? What the heck? Why? What's happening? But yeah, lots of important story stuff there. So yeah, she wasn't a flesh eater, but she just straight up died instead of going back to her core crystal, because part of it is missing. Like, it doesn't have the whole shape anymore. As Mithra was noting, it seems almost like somebody took it. And if you remember what Hayes' power was, it was the ability to restrict other blades. So if somebody took it, is that something that we're going to be seeing again later? That same power, if somebody else is able to like possess it, you know? I mean, yeah, there was something else I was gonna say, and then I forgot. But yeah, he's teaching Leave Him Alone, teaching his hard 30 seconds after a funeral there. Oh yeah, I remember another note that I was gonna say. Now that we know this far in the story that both Jin and Hayes were Laura's blades, and now that we also know from earlier in the story that like Driver's gonna have a great influence on their blades, as was the case with Laura and Hayes, as was revealed in a flashback at the very beginning of chapter 5, where they were talking about like how similar they were. In the end of the last chapter, after Jin had stabbed Hayes through the core crystal and she put her hand up to his face there and had that like faint smile on her face, it reminded Jin of Laura because of how similar they are and how much like Laura resonated into Hayes like that, you know, which is why Jin seemed so stunned at the end of chapter 5 there after he had killed Hayes and that happened, because it reminded him of Laura, because part of her is essentially like a part of Hayes, you know. But yeah, imagine if Mal's got the crazy idea of splitting his core crystal. That'd be crazy, but I can say that doesn't happen though. And Jinny's behind it. That, you know it, we shall see. It was quite the grand funeral ceremony. It spoke volumes as to just how much Fan was loved by her people. My goddess of Indol won't be an easy position to replace. Hey Rex, what are you going to do from here on out? If we're going to reach the World Tree, we'll need the Praetor's help, but... Master Rex, there you are. Praetor Malthus wishes to speak with you. He's waiting in the audience chamber. It's perfect timing then. Maybe he wants to talk about the World Tree. I'm afraid I cannot say. Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's get ourselves on over to that audience chamber then. Will do. Yeah, that group of children back there is the Indoline school. Corinne was talking of Marcus going to the school sometime soon. Exactly. Wait, that was literally such a good call back there. That's it. Yeah, because of all the funds that Rex has been sending home, all the freaking children and like Marcus at Fonset Village are getting to sit here in the freaking middle of bumblefuck nowhere in Indol, sitting on the hard concrete and like staring at, what even is this? Hold on, what are we learning here? Hold on. We got some shapes going on here. We got some weird text here. What are you talking about, my dude? Oh, you're not a dude, but what are we talking about here? And you guys having a play in the pond over there? Just having a little bit of a dip. You kids do not seem that interested at all in this, do you? Yeah. Whoa, Joe Mark, chill. Yeah, probably best for them not to go here. It is a silly place. On second thought, let us not go to Camelot. It is a silly place. That's what you're referencing there. And here we have some random words. What are you talking about, teach? Words! But yes, please give this teacher a raise. I'm freaking working over... Wait, listen, children. Understanding the system of notation is required for employment in Indol, something she said. Hold on. Apply yourselves. Yeah, if you want to get a position in Indol... What kind of jobs can you even freaking get here? Who's hiring? And what kind of place do you need to know this far to be hiring? Is this freaking, like... advanced geometry here? Is this gonna be like some advanced architecture classes to design the freaking build? What are they teaching here? But But yeah, it sounds like you're having fun in that game you're playing there, Anima. It's like dry bones. Sounds interesting. Whoa. Hey, dudes. Oh, that's actually a very good kind of analogy there. Like, could actually well be it. Cleansing core crystals. Like it was said at the end of the last chapter that, or it's been said like generally, how Indol has to cleanse like all the core crystals before they go out to all the different nations of the world. So in that way, Indol kind of controls war itself, since they're the ones that supply the blades as weapons. That freaking shape there could have literally been a core crystal. But that probably is actually what it is, honestly. That's actually a very solid guess. That's probably what it is now that I think about it. That is very, very nice there. Also, I never said your name before, but hello, Ben Animan, if I'm saying that correctly. Probably not. But you know, it's a thought that counts, right? Surely, something like that.
My apologies. Did I keep you waiting?
No, not really. What were you doing?
I was cleansing the core crystals. It markedly increases their resonance success rate. Bonding with a crystal carries certain risks, you understand.
I know.
When I became the driver of an Aegis, this power was awakened in me.
So, I might be able to do it too?
Who knows? Different people are cut out for different things.
Right, yeah.
Now then, my work is done for the day. Come with me.
A special envoy? To Tentacle? Me?
Correct. Behold. As a salvager, I imagine you are already aware, but this is Allrest, the world we currently inhabit. We make our home on Titans, moving in circles around the world tree. And here lies the Great Void. This void came into being 500 years ago. It did not exist prior to that.
So I've heard. It's in our way anyway. It stopped us reaching the world tree.
The Great Void is carved from the Cloud Sea by a monstrous beast known as Ophion.
Wait, you mean that thing?
To be precise, it is an artifice, a servant of the Aegis.
Of Mithra?
So if that thing is Mithra's, then what did it attack us for? Doesn't make sense.
Ophion was felled in the ancient battle with Malos, sinking below the clouds. This means someone must have revived it.
Correct.
And you're saying that someone was Zeke's home country, Tentacle?
Yes. They gave Ophion one directive: to ensure that none approach the World Tree. They sought to prevent a repeat of the horrors of the Aegis War, so an obstacle was created, the Great Void.
How did they manage a feat like that?
As I've said, mankind is regressing. Only one artifact remains that can rescind Ophion's orders, and it lies in Tentacle.
It's called the Omega Feta, and it's guarded by the royal family. I'll take you to it.
I've prepared your envoy documents already. Your quest is to set foot in Elysium, correct? Malos and his ilk will surely seek the Omega Fetter for themselves. I would ask you to reach Elysium before they do, and inform me of what you find there. Do it as a favor for a once foolish old man, and so that people may have a future in this dying world.